So, I'm recording this video from my bed because after a long day of stomping on buildings and crushing people beneath my feet, kaiju needs a decent rest once in a while, good night's sleep. So, I watched Godzilla vs. Monster Zero this morning, and, it was pretty alright, it didn't. Well, I guess I should explain what the movie is about. So, I've noticed each of these movies kind of pushes the envelope a little bit further. They get a little more crazy each time. Like, oh, now we gotta have a bunch of dinosaurs fight in the city, and now we gotta have fairies, and now there's space dragons and Martians, and in this movie, Godzilla goes to outer space. And, so once again, we get some really lame human characters that are just there for the sake of having a dumb plot to string together some badass monster fights. Because that's what you come to the movie for. You come to see the destruction, the big goofy monsters, the special effects, the fighting, and all that. The humans don't matter at all. And in this case, the human characters are some kind of nerdy inventor guy who invents a little device that makes loud noises, I guess. And his girlfriend, her brother, and his associate, who are a pair of astronauts. Her brother's an astronaut, goes up into space to explore a newfound planet called Planet X. And while the astronauts are on Planet X, they meet a race of space aliens. And the aliens look cheesy as hell. They're just regular guys wearing terrible costumes with goofy sunglasses on. It's a 1960s movie, though, so it's not a big deal, Like, the cheese factor is expected. It's totally fine. It's whatever. And these aliens tell them that they are under attack constantly by Monster Zero, which is something I'd never heard of before. I'm expecting, I don't know what it's gonna be. I don't know what kaiju this is. Never heard of Monster Zero before. It's like a surprise. Turns out it's actually King Ghidorah again. This time in space. And Ghidorah is just flying around and zapping stuff with his lightning breath, looking as cool as ever. And the aliens tell the astronauts that they want to borrow our Earth monsters, Godzilla and Rodan, to fight off Ghidorah. And that's exactly what they do. They say, and in exchange we'll give you a wonder drug that can cure any disease. So the astronauts are like, okay, we'll agree to that, and they bring in some silly-looking space saucers and use tractor beams to take Godzilla and Rodan up to outer space with them. And they go to Planet X, and they have their badass monster fight, and it's really entertaining and cool. As soon as Godzilla sees Ghidorah again, he just lets out this fucking roar, like, "It's you, you bastard!" And they fight, and Godzilla whoops Ghidorah's ass, and as Ghidorah is, like, running away crying, like, just, fleeing the fight, Godzilla does this goofy ass dance, like this victory dance. He jumps up in the air and he goes, and he goes, and he goes, and like, just look up like a GIF of Godzilla dance or something, and I'm sure it will come up, because it's ridiculous. I watched James Rolfe's review of this movie right after finishing it, and he said that dance is like one of the most iconic moments of the franchise. And I believe him because it left an impression on me. It was hilarious. And that's only the beginning. That's like the first half hour of the movie, I think. After all that happens, there's a couple of stupid twists and turns in the plot. Turns out that the aliens are actually not giving them a wonder drug. They just want to double-cross them and be like, now we have these 3 giant monsters, and we can use our technology to mind control them. And if you don't comply with our orders and let us colonize your planet, we'll destroy you all. And no one on Earth is happy about this. They're like, we're gonna fight back, or whatever. I don't know. And the aliens capture that one nerdy scientist dude, And the scientist dude is very confused about this until he realizes that the jail cell they threw him in is soundproofed. And then he's like, oh, it must be because they're weak to loud noises. So he takes out that dumb little machine he invented that makes loud noises. He turns it on, and it freaks the fuck out of all the aliens, and he escapes. And so that's what they do. They just get a big old loudspeaker, and they use the loud noises on the aliens, and they blow up their machinery, and then ruin their flying saucers, and then Rodan and Godzilla snap out of their mind control, and after lengthy scenes of them doing the bog standard, stepping on buildings and breaking the cities and having the military shoot at them with a bunch of tanks and missiles and all the usual stuff. As they regain their senses, they have yet another badass monster fight with Ghidorah, yet again, but this time on Earth. And, this fight is also pretty entertaining and cool. Lots of, throwing rocks and grappling and tossing around one another, and it ends pretty much the same way the last couple of Godzilla fights ended, which was with all of them tumbling over another cliffside, plunging into the watery depths below, just falling in some water, and then Ghidorah is the only one that comes back out, and he flies away for no reason. And the humans are all like, oh gee, Godzilla didn't come back up, I wonder if he's dead or not. Like, no shit, he's not dead. This happened like 3 times already. Every time he falls under the water, he is definitely not dead. You people are dumb, and you think I'm dumb, and you're all full of shit. Overall, pretty entertaining movie. Like 6 out of 10, I liked it. I would recommend this if you watched Ghidorah the Three-Headed Monster and liked it and just want to see more of that, because it's basically the same stuff, it's just more of that, just more Ghidorah, but Mothra wasn't in this one, which was a little disappointing to me, personally, but, you still got Rodan and Ghidorah in there, they're all cool. So, yeah, just another day in the life of Godzilla, I guess, just another one of those movies. Doesn't really stand out that much. The most standout thing about it, really, is that they go into outer space and Godzilla has a fight on an alien planet, but that's not really like that special, It's whatever. Yeah, I don't know. The next movie is called Godzilla vs. the Sea Monster, which, judging from that very, very unexciting title, not really looking forward to it, but I'm gonna watch it anyway, so I guess I'll see you in the next one. Good night.